Gonna build a mountain from a little hill.
Hey guys, and thank you so much for tuning into my channel. My name is DeLady Designer, and in this video, I'm going to teach you the basics of how to create a dome in Planet Zoo. Now, a dome you can use for a variety of reasons. You can use it for a simple viewing gallery. You can also use it for a big inside area with several inside habitats for different animals. You can also use it for just one animal to have like a big shelter. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. Pretty simple. And I'm here to show you guys the basics of how to create a dome, but there are so many different ways to do so, and I will give you guys some tips, and hopefully you can create your own beautiful domes in your own zoo. So let's get started. What you need to do to make some kind of base to work with for your dome. So what you can do, what I did in Malin Zoo, I've created this dome. And this is like a very, I think, a little bit more advanced roof, but I'm going to show you guys the more simple version of it. And I'm going to show you how I did that. And basically, I'm going to tell you too what keys I would use to decorate it, to give you guys an idea if you're not familiar with the keys. So you start with building a wall. Now that's pretty simple, isn't it? Now the next one, you have to decide how high you want your dome to be. Now for my dome, I chose to have just one 4-meter wall, and then I'm going to have a 2-meter wall upon it, and then I want something with glass. You can pick whatever you want. You can pick a small one, you can pick the 4-meter one, the 2-meter one, whatever you want. Just decide it of yourself. So I will pick this one in this case. And then I'm going to tip it off with a 1-meter wall. But obviously you can do it whatever you want it to be. So there we have a base. And now you can decorate it, of course, with some beams and stuff. Like, the base is very important because you will copy paste this to get a complete dome. So this section is basically the only thing you need to do. But for example, what you could do, you can just pick a beam. Use the align to surface, which is very useful if you want to build, and you just snap it onto the wall and then press X, and then you get into the advanced move tool. Now if I do this right now, you will notice that this is very smooth, and that's not really handy if I want to decorate a wall. This can be very useful if you're gonna do some other advanced building. But for now, we don't want that. So I press escape to get out of it, or just press your right mouse button and get back to it again. So it will snap. But what you want to do is have the angle snap on in this case. So I will click it, which basically means if I press X onto the wall, it will snap at 15 degrees. And I will now be able to move the arrows and then put it at the spot I want it to be. So for example, I want to have a border for my window in wood, and maybe also on the top. You can use different pieces for that, whatever you want it to look like. And then let's do also one underneath it, like that. So basically the keys you're gonna use is X to get in the advanced move tool, and another time X to get into the rotation tool. Press X again and you get to the arrows, press X again and you get into the rotation tool. So now we have a wall. Now there are a lot of different roofs you can pick. So I'm now out of the building. To get back into the building, you click the building and press R. And now we're back into the building. And you get out of it by pressing escape. Now I did make a few ideas for you guys to show what you can use as a rooftop. You can have a flat roof like this with glass. You can also have a flat roof with few glass pieces and then closed ones to get a different idea of the shadows inside, because the shadows can be very annoying, but that is just what you prefer to do. You can also have like a very closed roof. You can have it flat, you can have it angled, and you can even do this with the rounded shapes. Now this is a very interesting one. So let's use that one just to give you guys an idea of how that would look. So we go back into the building, press R, and then you're back into your grid, and you basically go to the wall area and pick the glass modern roof curved. Now this one you should not really build a very big dome in my opinion, but obviously that's taste. So when you put it down and then shift, you can go higher and down. So put another one in and put another one in. Now obviously what we have to do for building a dome, you're gonna select everything in your building and you're gonna press Ctrl D, and then you will have this whole section completely duplicated, and we're gonna rotate it with pressing 2 times Z. There you go. So now we're gonna close it off on this side. Like that. So now we have our base shape to build our dome. Now what is important is you go out of this building. So you go out of this building, and then you're going to click the whole building, and you're not going to press R in this case, you're going to press Ctrl X. And with Ctrl X, you duplicate it, but right on that same spot. So you can see, you can't see the duplicated building because it's exactly on the same spot, but you can see those arrows, your 3D gizmo. So now what you want to do is press X again. So you get into the rotation section, and then you're going to make sure, because right now we have angle snap on. So what will happen is that it will only rotate in 15 degrees. But we don't want to do that because we want to make a smooth dome. So what we're going to do, we're going to put this one back. We're going to close angle snap so there won't be any snapping right now. So we can now freely rotate this whole section. So we're going to put this one right next to it, and we put it down. We're going to click this one again, press Ctrl X, press X again, and we're going to complete the whole dome by doing this. So Ctrl X and then another time X, and then you're able to rotate it. Now it sometimes may happen that when you get to the last part, you cannot avoid the fact that it will overlap a little bit. That just happens. You can either choose to just put it down and just hide it away a little bit, maybe put down some trees or whatsoever, or you just start rotating this. So when you do this, then you make sure that this overlaps a little bit so you won't notice it that much. And then you can make sure that this section will fit more nicely. So you just keep doing that, XX, and then you make sure that all the pieces overlap a little bit more. So now you won't really notice that it didn't fit at first. So now you have a really nice roof and you can do a lot of this. But what you can also do with some buildings, not everything works, but for some buildings you can just say like, I only want half a dome. So then you just make sure that you have this particular section, you keep that one in place. Now obviously when I click this one, you will have this section and you have this section. So if you go into the building, pressing R, you can just select half of that building. So you have to check, obviously, if you select everything, half of the building. And then if you have that one selected, you press delete. And you can do the same with the next building. So click the building and delete that half section. So once you deleted half of the buildings, you now have half a dome. So you can use this to put at a square or rectangular building, and you can put it right against it. So there are variety of ways how to use dome. You don't have to keep it round. You can use it just like this. You can also select the whole building because these are all different buildings. You have to keep that in mind. So it's not like, oh yeah, I can just click one and I have the whole building. That's not the case. So you go to this section, so the multi-select tool, and then when you select everything, if it's not too many pieces, if it's above 5,000 pieces, you won't be able to move it. So you have to do it separately, but I think you're good because right now we don't have that many pieces. So you can just move this around, put it against a building, for example, and just have some fun with that. Now you can make domes as big or as small as you want it to be. Like this is just an example, but you can just create the size yourself. So if you want it to be like a very, very big dome, you can just duplicate this and just say like, okay, how big do I want it to be? You can make it as big as you want. There is total freedom of it as long as you make sure that this first building, and then you just duplicate those guys with Ctrl D. As long as you make sure that your first section of the building, this is your base. And if your base is big enough or small enough, however you want it to be, you can use this to rotate it yourself and create your own beautiful domes. But the bigger they get, the harder it is to use this tool to make it round. But that is just practice, I guess, but it works for every size you want it to be. But if there are more pieces in there, make sure that is already on the right spot because it can be hard to move it around. So that's something to really keep in mind. But you can go really crazy with this and you are not really forced to use walls. You can also use beams just to make like a very big wooden structure or anything you want it to be, you can do that. Now, one more question that I got was, how do you create a doorway for animals to use as a shelter? So for example, when you have like a very big area right over here for an animal and you want it to have a inside or indoor section in this dome, you just click the building, press R, and then you just delete whatever you want to delete by clicking the buildings like that. Make sure to check the animal and the traversable area if they're able to get in or out. And then you can decorate this all by yourself by just using the angle snap. Just create some poles or whatever you want to do with some wooden beams. And you can create a very beautiful entrance for your animals to use and then create beautiful indoor and outdoor habitats. I really hope this was very useful for you guys. Do let me know in the comment section and leave a like at the video if you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe, of course, if you already haven't. And I really hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye guys!